General strike announced in Israel until judicial reform halted.
Here's a summary of the article.
Histadrut Secretary-General Arnon Bar David has called an immediate general strike until the judicial overhaul is halted. He met last night with business leaders including Fox owner Harold Weisel and said that he was shocked by the dismissal of Minister of Defense Yoav Gallant. In a dramatic statement this morning, Bar David said, "This is an historic strike in which workers and employers will together halt the judicial overhaul." After unprecedented demonstrations throughout the country throughout the night, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is meeting with coalition partners to discuss whether to pause the judicial overhaul. Netanyahu will address the nation. Demonstrators took to the streets after Netanyahu fired Minister of Defense Yoav Gallant for warning that the rift in the nation was endangering the IDF's readiness and Israel's security. Despite the mass unrest, the shekel is strengthening this morning and is down 0.85% against the dollar at NIS 3.598 dollar and down 0.95% against the euro at NIS 3.877 euro, on the assumption that Netanyahu will pause the legislation.
This post received a score of 9,200, with an upvote ratio of 97%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
The country mains highway was blocked for 9 hours yesterday by hundreds of thousands, called spontaneously within a 30 minutes notice. Police didn't even try to stop us. Even Netanyahu's own lawyer in the corruption case has threatened to quit the case if the reform isn't halted. Netanyahu has agreed, finally, to stop the reform, but he's being held by the radical people in his own party, who threaten to bring the coalition down if the reform stop, while the saner part of his coalition demand a stop. It's extremely difficult to see the reform continue now.
Thanks for the insight. It's amazing to hear about the mass protests from afar. It must be intense to be in the middle.
In the middle. They are shockingly intense. Filled with people who care deeply about their country. The labor union does not mess around.
It's even better. You know it is bad when you get the labor unions calling a strike and then the heads of the banks and major business give the union chief a standing ovation. The diplomatic corps is on strike. I have never heard of embassies defecting from the legitimate internationally recognized government they're supposed to represent except in civil war.
I called my one sympathetic congressman and suggested Congress should pass a resolution supporting the general strike. You guys should too.
I am fully in support of the protesters here, but there should be much higher priorities for the U.S. Congress right now.
Both businesses and workers agreed to go on strike. I don't think I've ever seen this in my life. Usually the businesses and workers are on opposite sides of a strike. This is checkmate. Netanyahu is finished. His coalition will fall because he has no choice but to stop the judicial overhaul due to the economic paralysis, but if he stops it, the extremists in his coalition will end his government.
Ruin your country or stay in power? Seems like an easy choice from the outside, but even the great Gandalf knew the power provided by the ring would corrupt almost anyone, including himself. Don't expect people in power to voluntarily give it up.
They are being forced to give it up by the protesters and the businesses and workers who are going to strike. When both businesses and workers go on strike and hundreds of thousands of people are blocking roads, it's checkmate. At that point, all their power is gone. Unless they're willing to kill the protesters, which is not going to happen in Israel because it's not Russia. When the economy is paralyzed, they have no power anymore.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.